And we're back. Welcome to Uncoachable, a podcast for parents and coaches, by parents and coaches. I'm Coach Patrick. That's Coach Lance.
What's up?
Coach Logan.
Hey.
And we have a special treat, part 2, with Coach John Marx. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, thanks for letting me hang out, fellas.
I am.
Absolutely.
Where else can you enjoy that? I mean, my God, it was the fastest hour.
Yeah. Just over an hour, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It was cool.
This
Thanks.
is
I'm
part
grateful.
2. If you guys haven't not listened to part 1 yet, go back. We cover a lot in there, and it was so much fun.
Yeah. There's a ton of baseball stuff in there, and there's even more to keep picking and unwrapping if we want to.
Yeah. So
Go back, check it out.
yeah, absolutely. We talked briefly about just in the meantime, in between episodes, we talked about kids golfing and going to play baseball. And then you said, has back foot come up too when we were talking about a swing? Are you a proponent?
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Are you a proponent of the squash the bug mentality, or a proponent of the drive off the back leg?
I'm going to take a little bit of both. I want to make sure when I get that front side, and I'm not a big, even though I did it, I was that raise that foot guy. Mm-hmm. And then with 2 strikes, if you watch Tony Gwynn, just gently tap that front side and then lock it a little front, a little more front side than normal, and then hit the ball the other way. That's the way I approached it with 2 strikes. I got to have that front foot down gently and then locking that front side, but I want to make sure I drive that back heel first as I come through. Nothing worse than to hear squish the bug. Okay, just if you want to pivot and get the backside through, yes, but you have to take that knee and that heel and turn that foot flat and kind of roll it over and make sure you generate enough to have that back hip and keep it at an angle straight and perpendicular. So you take it and drive that back foot in and the hands inside the baseball. I'm more that. Then if you want to pivot the hip to finish, I'm okay there. But I want to make sure the head's down and through. I'm not a lift guy. I'm really not a launch angle guy. I want to finish high. If you watch George Brett's finish, if that's a proponent of up and through and finishing above that shoulder, because I'm a top spin guy, a line drive. I don't want to. Top spin is the perfect swing to me. Ball, a left-hander hitting the ball in left center field gap with top spin on top of the baseball, still through it, hands finishing up and over, I think is the perfect swing.
Okay.
A right-hander hitter hitting a ball 4 feet left of second base with the ball going up and tailing
in a way, yeah.
I think is the perfect swing. I think a home run is an imperfect contact to the baseball because I still think there's too much underneath, and I would rather have the top spin to it. So the proponent that you asked, to answer your question, I'm not a big early. The finish is, you can call the pivot on the backside, but I want that ankle and I want that heel dug into the ground. I want enough that the backside gets through and that I'm enough to generate, as long as I have to stay inside the baseball though.
Right. Okay. I teach the pocket. Throw your back pocket.
Back pocket at it.
Through the.
That's fair. And as long as it stays, as long as that front shoulder doesn't turn to go to get to there.
Right.
Perfect.
Yep. And I use the if I got a kid that's not doing getting the hips.
Sure.
I use the block where you almost like a pitcher's mound. Which is helping them generate that power, almost like they're throwing a pitch off a pitcher's mound, and it's helping them generate that hip, getting that hip through.
And the most important thing with that is you're teaching them the balance to get to the ball.
Yeah.
I'm okay if you lose it a little on the front side, as long as your hands are still here. Mm-hmm. I am. There's a lot of guys that have had success hitting off that front side, fooled by a straight changer, a breaking ball, and still have enough to hit the ball the other way. I believe there's 2 swings. I believe there's a stance and a spot in the batter's box for every pitch, every different velocity, different at bat, where you do, who you have, and you have to conform to the pitcher that you have, his strengths, know his strengths, and then you can adjust a stance, stance in the box and what you think is his weakest point that you have your best chance of putting the ball in play. A little old school in one fact that it's really simple if you throw your hands at the baseball.
Yeah, and I teach hands hitting as well, and I know other people do differently, but that's what makes sense to me. Is Jim Pransky taught me knob to the baseball.
Yep, and that can lead to that front elbow. The only fault to that is that front elbow will leak and go to the air too soon instead of that hand and that front side getting down and through the baseball and then up to finish. But that's in the simplest form, are hands thrown at the baseball, knob to the baseball.
Yeah, hands, yeah.
Yep. But I do have to have a high finish. If you're a let-go kid, I'm okay. Make sure there's contact before you let go. I'm okay with a finish with the one hand, but I'm that guy up and over the front shoulder when you finish.
You know, and that's interesting you bring that up because I tend to teach two hands to the back all the way
through
with a kid that's finishing too early, the one hand too early. If I don't,
when he takes the hand off the bat
Yeah,
before
the thing,
contact
you
or
can-
even
Before
at
contact,
contact.
it's easy to do.
you can finish with one hand.
Yep.
If I'm not noticing it.
Right.
If I notice if I notice it, that means that you're doing it too early.
The age-old adage is barrel to the back, and if you know you've done something correct, if both hands are through, up and through, and you can feel the barrel of the bat touch the back, perfect tool to teach young people. And I'm not a big machine guy, even though the hack attack is one of the greatest inventions of all time, especially with its sliders and breaking balls. But I'm a big front toss guy. And tee work, especially to the hands. And you can do it in your basement, and that's one of the things. God bless I have a smart wife who knows how to do the books. I have the perfect house that I ever wanted.
Yeah.
There's a pool, a tennis court. We live in a house. In our quad, the pool, the tennis court, and the park, and the basketball court are in my backyard.
Oh, nice.
So where we live.
That's perfect.
Okay, I grew up a humble family. I have the ultimate dream home. I really do. Just not bragging, just telling you. I never finished my basement because we have a cage in the basement. So there's always place to work. And you don't need a machine. You don't need to be in a big space. You can get a lot done with a tee and some front toss.
Yeah.
And you really can.
Well, and I wish more coaches would understand the value of the tee work. Where you want to get in that big long cage and you want to throw BP until your arm falls off.
You have to see it first.
Yeah, I can't teach you how to swing until I get you on a tee.
You can and the point you guys just made about long BP in a cage, long front side leaves automatically. You poor background. You're not outside. That's why the tee is as simple as it gets. And you can move. The thing of it is, the tee moves.
Yeah.
Take the tee from the middle to the wing, and then you have to watch Freddie Freeman's video on YouTube if you want to learn how to start hitting off a tee. It's just that's his work. That's his first thing every day is probably 20, 25 balls, and the ball is off the corner of the plate, excuse me, and he's just driving the ball over the shortstop's head.
And it's that. Freddie Freeman is one of those 5 hitters that we're all getting ready to leave. Freddie Freeman's up. We're going to wait.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not very many guys that it's like this, I'm watching this at bat.
And though he was first of all, I admire Freddie Freeman because he doesn't do his job on the handle. He does his job with 1.5 inches off it, and a bat that's handle shaved. He gets the whip. I love that. And though he was the greatest publicly steroid user of all time and went from a size 6 and 7, 8 to an 8 head, Barry Bonds choked up 2.5 inches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a young person who thinks the game, especially at your age, fellas, if you have a young person who thinks the game can be won on the knob, can't. And the simplest way to create a little bat speed is to choke up a 1/2 inch.
And sometimes I feel like I have more control of the bat.
I always did.
Yeah.
And I would use an R43 wooden bat. In the old days, it was a 35-31 Easton. It was long and thin if I was playing a semi-pro game because I could always say 31 ounce. You can whip it through. I wanted it long and quick. I shaved handles down. So it never hurts to choke up. I'm sorry. Not, and if you have an approach where you want to just let it fly early in the count, okay, stay on the knob. But somebody gets you down with 2 strikes, again, I can't deal with the strikeout. Choke up with the ball and play.
Put the ball in play.
Yep.
And that's one thing. Baseball. That's one thing that Kellen, thankfully, with watching baseball, has picked up. In that
that's beautiful.
With 2 strikes, and it's been a lot of poking and prodding a little bit from us. But
sure.
With 2 strikes, he will put about an inch on the bat, and then he has to put it in play. He knows he has to put the ball in play if he wants to get on base.
That's the beauty of the game. It really is. If you're teaching a young person to understand the intricacies of putting the ball of hitting a baseball, is if you can reach them when you are down in the count, that you have to give in a little, you have to give in a lot to put the ball in play to make something happen, an error, a base hit, a walk, a boot, a drop, and a kick, whatever. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm that guy that doesn't mind somebody walking.
Yeah.
I like the 3-0 things you guys talked about, being aggressive at that age. But if a guy's not in a strike zone, don't give in.
Right.
It's a great tool to teach. Don't expand it. If you expand it at 10, you're going to expand it at 15. You expand it at 15, you're going to expand it at 17, and then you might not play the game after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but with Kellen, I've always taught him, look for your pitch. With a 3-0 count, look for the ball that you want to hit out of the park. That's all you're looking for. And if it's not there,
lay off.
And if it's called a strike, guess what? You get 2 more.
Thank you. If it's 3-1, it's 3-2.
Yep.
It's 2-0, and he doesn't. That's not center cut. It's 2-1.
You're in control for the rest of the at bat.
Yeah.
In control for the rest of the at bat. But on it's a double-edged sword because we're also teaching, especially at this age, fastball hunt early in the count. That's when they're gonna be trying to get ahead, and they're gonna be.
Are you teaching them? That's just it. Are we teaching them to be too aggressive? No. You sit dead red first pitch.
Oh yeah.
Always. Doesn't matter who you are or where you're at. Now, you get a kid it was the high school level and he breaks you off a breaking ball to start you off. If my hitters swing, then don't come back to the dugout. If straight change looks fastball and you realize stay back. Stay back. It's got to be boom right here and then drive the baseball. And if it's not, you got to lay off that.
Yeah.
And at that point, it doesn't matter if you go down 0-1.
I'm okay.
It does not matter because you're not going to have solid contact on it.
If he 12-6s you first pitch and for a strike, tip your hat.
Yep.
And just remember that and file that away because he may double up, but he's got to throw fast. That means he doesn't have enough confidence in his fastball to beat you early in the count.
Yeah. Well, and how often are you going to throw a 12-6 for a strike back-to-back pitches, first of all?
We deal with. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. And we talked about this before, too, and I don't know if it was in the old ones that we didn't.
We lost.
Yeah. But first game of the year last year, Ian Happ goes deep, first pitch.
First pitch of the season.
First pitch of the season, yep.
Goes deep. Hit 5 more home runs that year because he fell in love with pulling a fastball.
And Joe Madden loves him. And here's a guy with every tool under the sun who hit 245. And there's a reason he hit 245 because he would not stray because he thinks he's going to drop 30 and make 10 million. It's not going to happen. You got to make an adjustment, especially if with as skilled as he is. He should be an everyday guy.
Yeah.
But he's not because
at several different positions. He can play anywhere. He's that switchblade guy.
Second base. He's that Swiss Army knife.
You're Ben Zobrist. Ben Zobrist is 36. You need a new
Ben
one.
Zobrist.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Yeah. He's another guy I'll stay and watch hit.
He's that guy that you will watch hit and finish in a bat because it's always going to be professional at bat. You want him up to bat when you have 2 outs in the 9th.
Yep. The professional hitter.
Ben Zobrist will always have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Even at the end, somebody will say, "Hey, you know what? We think we can get a little mileage out of it because he can play left field, he can play every position, and every at bat is, as you said, a professional at bat.
Yeah.
He never gives in. Never.
My wife will look at him like, I can't stand the way he bats because his chin's all tucked into his shoulder and everything. She's like, I can't stand it. Why is he doing that? Like, I thought he was comfortable.
There's so many weird.
But it's true. It's true. And if he's comfortable with it, he's a big leaguer. And I'll just defer.
That Ben Zobrist tick that he has probably started as a Band-Aid, as what coaches do with Band-Aids.
Yep.
We talk about that with Clayton Kershaw. That double leg drive that he has had to have been a Band-Aid at some point.
Or you'll find the guy that lays it on his shoulder, too, because if he takes it up and pushes the hands away, the only way he can stay inside of baseball is to lay it on his shoulder and go. I have a 15-year-old in my house who starts his load from the shoulder, because he was always, when he would set to load himself, he would hook the barrel up here and never get back. In the offseason, we changed a couple things, but then we saw a habit forming, and boom, the barrel would fly over, and he wouldn't be able to get the plane of the bat.
Get the
got a loop and didn't need it.
Yeah.
So now we just set and go, and he's locked, and it works.
And that's surprising, because you'll see major leaguers wrap that bat around their head a little bit. I think Harper, that was what he was doing in the front half of the season, is he was wrapping that bat more around his head, and therefore it was causing his hands to. What's that create?
A loop.
Yeah,
a loop and an extra loop, actually, that you're not going to get the barrel of the bat. Excuse me.
You're good.
Barrel of the bat back to the zone. And remember Gary Sheffield?
Oh yeah.
Quickest hands.
Flip. Yep. But when after the last flip of the barrel over, he was in a locked and loaded position, and the hands were
so fast.
Talk about lightning.
Yeah.
Exception to the rule. But that's where you find the guys. Whatever.
But I always
tick
say
that you have,
and I always say that, I'm like that tick, the Gary Sheffield tick, like no one can duplicate it. You can try to, but you can't. But he was always here, and the second that pitcher has that ball back here, it's locked and it's in that position. And I've talked about this
loaded position.
If you take 6 right-handed hitters that are 6 foot, and you measure where their hands are, they're all going to be in a very, very, very tight radius.
Good point. Never thought about it. But again, these are guys that are exception to the rule that could get that hands, flick it any way they could, and get it to a certain spot. But
it's really funny, exceptions to the rule, when you talk about guys like Hunter Pence.
Oh gosh,
how is that guy a Major League Baseball player? Because if I saw him, I would not say, "Come back to the next tryout."
He growing up, or in his younger, ran like the wind.
Yeah,
he was
still does
6'4", 6'3" guy. Couldn't throw. You could catch him with a Kleenex. I mean, but he's the worst arm. But swing
still does.
Yeah, but he could run. He could go catch it, and he could get on base. He could swing, but
that swing.
Oh my God,
that swing.
You can't teach it.
No,
you teach that.
But you don't want to.
Looks like a frog trying to swing a broomstick.
But if you went, out and asked, okay, who could win the high jump, who could win the long jump, and who could run the mile better than all, Hunter Pence would be that guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's no surprise.
Here's the guy. Yeah. He could catch every pass in high school. He could.
Oh, wow.
That's the
just an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's the exceptions. There's a lot of ugly stances. There's a lot of great athletes running around.
Craig Counsell comes to mind.
Oh
my God. Yeah. Probably the smartest guy I ever talked game with.
Huh?
Yeah.
Notre Dame guy. Yeah. But if you notice, as high as it was,
came down.
Boom.
Still got it locked and loaded.
Yep. And
because you can't hit with your hands like that.
He had lightning in him.
The
Carl Yastrzemski, if you remember the name.
Know the name.
Okay. Yep. Boom, 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 boom. As he went forward, great hands.
Tony Fernandez stepped up in the All-Star game. Joe Torre went. He's standing the wrong way. Stand here.
Yeah.
And then
boom. So whatever. But we're talking about again the exceptions to the rule.
Right.
Yeah.
As compact, as simple as you can make it for the young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we shouldn't let them watch TV.
Right.
Oh, we've said that numerous times, where they try to mimic, and I look back at him whenever we were growing up, he would always mimic every hitter on the Cubs team.
Well,
because
we always did because you're playing a game in the backyard of wiffle ball, you had to be that.
You had to be all 9 hitters.
Yeah. And I could do Willie Stargell better than anybody I've ever met, but I didn't dare do it in the game.
Not in the game.
No, couldn't.
No.
And me, I can never do those things. I had to have my swing from the right side of the plate, and otherwise I'm not touching the ball.
Nobody else. Yep.
Just calling myself a different name, but he's going to be from right.
And he's right-handed, not left-handed.
It's interesting. I was that thought popped into my head in the last hour where I was thinking, it's a double-edged sword. And you get these kids that love the game so much and they watch it and they pay attention. You get kids that learn how to, do things like the stand-up slide into second base. That it's something that I'm not teaching my 8-year-olds,
right.
but they know how to. A couple of them know how to do it because they love the game. But then they also see these kids doing these launch angel swings, and now they're trying to take these uppercuts, and it's like, dude, you're cutting your contact rate in half. Like, you don't understand.
Perfect point. But you want them watching.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
That's how you learn the game.
I had to come inside as a kid on Saturday afternoon because there's a baseball game of the week. And I'm 60, fellas, so I'm dirt old. But the other end of it is that, I got friends outside wanting to no, man. Kurt Gowdy and Tony Kubek are going to talk about baseball, and I'm going to get to watch. It's usually the Dodgers or somebody.
Yeah, usually Dodgers, Giants,
whatever it might be. But I shut it down from 1 o'clock on a Saturday, and then.
Well, after the game's done, you go back out. Yeah. I remember watching football. I could never make it past halftime. Because I'd be like, all right, hey, Dad, you want to go play catch? You'd be like, yeah, sure. We never come back in.
Come back in. And I'd be, I like
never
that.
get back in.
Yeah. But they should be watching the game. Yeah. There are many wonderful things to learn about the game.
And if you have the rewind, if you're able to rewind live TV, I could tell you, we talked about something at practice one day. We went home and watched the Cubs game, and I was sitting there with my son, and it was the six F's of fielding, and ball was hit just routine to Addison Russell, and he did it perfectly. I go, oh, Kellen, watch.
Wife beater.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. But no, he's gifted.
He is.
He has in every fundamental. Baez is as gifted as it gets, and does things uncanny, crazy that you and I can't.
Never.
I'm not gonna, and I can't try.
And they developed a new stat column for tag efficiency or whatever.
Yep, because of he and Molina pulled off really well in the.
Oh man, that was so fun to watch.
I know.
Man, I love the World Baseball Classic. It's even great when the U.S. wins it. I love it even more. But
yeah.
But no, I know what you mean. Yeah. I would love to watch every game in the Caribbean World Series, just because everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, they're having a good time there, and they're with their people, if that makes sense.
Great. No, it does, and that's the way the game should be played.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. Is at this age, we would take the kid that we wanted to pitch, who's his best friend, have him catch.
Oh yeah,
good idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They have
great
fun
chemistry.
Together.
Oh yeah. And we would even ask our pitchers, even if they didn't have, cause you're limited to catchers.
Right.
So we would ask our pitchers, hey, what catcher you want today, or what catcher do you like catching?
Like that.
Oh yeah.
I feel comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Yep. I know. I had to do that with a certain pitcher when I was growing up. He would only pitch to me.
Wow.
And
anything
so I was like,
that I can do to help my pitcher. Pitchers are weird.
Midgets is the word you're looking for. Every pitcher. The world would be better if we were void of them.
Yeah. Yes. Especially lefty pitchers.
First of all, they get to pick the music in the clubhouse. They get to pick what jersey you wear that day and the spread. Yeah. So get rid of them. And they're paid more, and they get all the girls. You never found the fat catcher. I've never got one.
Never.
No. They never wait outside the door for me. They're always waiting outside for the pretty left-handed pitcher.
Oh, he was always the one that had the face on TV.
Yep. And that's
even a face like Tom Glavine got girls.
Hold on.
20 games. He's a hockey player. You win 20 in the big leagues. You can be colorful. Until you win 20 in the show. Until now, right now you're a slob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bull. Nuke. Ebby Calvin. So yeah, he even got Susan Sarandon in the movie. But Crash ended up where he's supposed to be. So
on an operating table.
Kevin Costner is one of the nicest men I ever dealt with.
Really?
Oh my God.
He seems like a nice guy in the movies, at least.
I always used to get him and Bruce Willis mixed up because they look kind of similar when I was a kid.
No, they don't.
I always thought they did.
Bruce Willis is the thicker.
Yeah.
And bald.
Bald.
I got it straight now, but
so all the guys I played semi-pro ball with, the first 5 guys out of the cornfield, and in Field of Dreams. And they all loved Costner.
Okay.
So Costner's band played at the Call Ballroom 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
6 years ago. How old's my son? 7 years ago. Okay. So I had the Rawlings, Kevin Corrigan, one of my favorite, dearest friends, and who worked at Temples at the time, now works for Breedlove Sporting. got me my own glove from Rawlings with the side name, Brent, gorgeous, Heart of the High, second one they ever made. So it was in a glass case in my den. So Kevin Costner comes to town to play music. I'm going to write a column about playing catch in Iowa with Kevin Costner. Is this heaven? No, this is Iowa. And we played catch in front of the Radisson in downtown Davenport for 15 minutes. And he was the coolest guy. He was that's where his band was staying in the hotel. I met him downstairs. He didn't know I was coming. I said, I'm a newspaper columnist. Can I have a minute of your time? Sure. He goes, can we play catch? It helped that I knew the guys from the movie and told him that. And, he had a catch with his dad in the outfield on Field of Dreams. So we play catch. TV, everybody, traffic stopping. We're playing catch in the Radisson and Davenport out front.
Did he know your baseball acumen?
No, but he knew he was okay with me once I told him that I played with Frank Dardis and Tim Kelleher and all the guys, Jim Doty, all the guys in the movie that he got to know in Dyersville. Okay. So that helped. That was my in. Okay. And that was one of the greatest times. He was fantastic. He went and played a musical. He had a show that night. He went and played. But yeah, I wrote about. Got my picture taken with him. So, but the end of the story is, he signed my glove, the glove that Kevin Corrigan got me from Rawlings. Okay. Okay. I put it back in the case. My son is an 8U Hitman player. Okay. He can't find his glove, his Wilson A2000. They're going to Des Moines. I'm already at Allman. I got a game they're leaving for Des Moines at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I feel a Sandlot story coming up.
Well, okay. Take it anywhere you want. I get back from an Allman doubleheader. He's in Des Moines, my wife, mother-in-law, and my glove is missing out of the case in the den. Yep. He's in you guys knew all those the pea gravel and, yeah, my Costner glove. So from that point on, he used it. He just got a new one last year. He's used that glove. Kevin Costner autograph faded out long before. Yeah. But that crossweb, that Heart of the Hide, he used up until last year. Wow. And it's sitting in my glove, my autographed Kevin Costner baseball glove is sitting. You guys know that, sitting in the bottom of a big old bag that gets hauled around. Yep. It'll never see the light of day, but
it's now a pancake.
And the empty case still sits there. He came and took the glove. Couldn't find it. Brand new eight. We broke it in all winter. We practiced A2000. He was playing third base and he was playing the outfield, played second, and he couldn't find it that morning. We went, and my glove went.
Yank.
Yep.
Wow. Oh.
So there's yeah. And the thing of it is, I didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Because he goes, Dad, I picked up everything with it. So, okay. Did you get any hits? Yeah. So, but Coach Harding didn't yell at him.
You can't take it the other way because you'll break the confidence.
There it is. Once you start a streak, you can't mess with a streak.
Nope.
Yeah.
But that's my baseball Kevin Costner story. It has an ending.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I will show. I'll see you guys. I'll show you the glove. Awesome. You can't tell that Kevin Costner signed it. It's beat to hell.
But I always say, if you're worried about uniform cleanliness,
thank you.
That means you're not playing.
Yep.
And if your glove is in good condition, that means you ain't catching anything.
But that's my, and he lived to tell about it.
Yeah.
So.
If you go 0 for 4,
yeah, dude,
you're in the ground.
Yep. If you were hitting 5 bills that weekend, don't come home. I used to have to. I would tape a hard piece of tape around something and put it in his back pocket saying, you can hit, no doubt. So that was because I'm coaching and he's on the road, and it was hard, him growing up, having us spend all that time together. He was in great hands with Mark DeMarley and Scott Harding, but great hands, I might add. Yeah. But he always calling, he'd hem and haw. I finally just put something in his back pocket and say, hey, look at that before you go to the plate. So he's fine.
Scott used to coach UT, right?
UT. He's been the head coach at Assumption. They won a state championship at Assumption. He coached at Allman for several years. And then the year we got second, he stepped down. He knew we were going to be good. He stepped down to help Brock and Brody, his two sons, with their careers. And when we got the next year, we got second. So many of the kids that he groomed Ed Allman, who went on to have a great year. He's one of my all-time favorite people. He's great to my son. He knows the game. He loves the game.
Yeah.
And he's a great man. Big fan.
So I have to ask, just because, and I'm going to be naive, is he the dude that told Sean
to
not have his second baseman glove close?
Yeah.
To not really break it in? Really? Is that normal?
You should be catching with two hands anyway, right?
Well, I get that, but
Did he?
Yeah.
I mean, that glove was stiff. He couldn't. I mean, you couldn't.
Anything Scott Harding tells you about picking up a ground ball?
Yeah.
Listen.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm serious.
I get it.
He was born with the rollings on his hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Well, and I listened to this video with Ron Washington. It was one of the MLB Network videos.
Maybe the best teacher of picking up a ground ball in the game.
Oh man, the stuff that he's doing is like
the towel. Put the knees on the towels.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Oh.
Talked about feeling the ground ball on the palm.
Yep.
With the two hands, and I was like,
you don't want to roll up front.
freaking duh! But at the same time, like, never really put it together.
Okay. Did you ever see Joe Morgan's the size of his glove?
No.
Okay. It was pick the smallest glove of your kid's age right now. Pick the smallest, the kid with the smallest glove.
10 1/4.
Okay.
That's tiny.
Whatever. Yeah. That's what he
It was
used.
this big.
Yep. A little.
Pancake glove.
Yep. So he never changed it because he didn't want. He wanted to use both hands.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
Because to me, like,
I mean, obviously, middle infielder gloves are smaller.
Right.
But
What did Joe play? What did Joe Morgan play?
second base.
Was he a second baseman? Who am I thinking of then? Is he a
I don't
Royal?
know.
Was he a Kansas City Royal?
Joe Morgan was part of the Big Red Machine.
Okay, I'm thinking the wrong guy then.
Are you talking about Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker?
Nope. I'm thinking of
Tigers?
a big black dude.
John Mayberry at first for Kansas City. Frank White played second. Freddie Patek was 5'5", played short.
I might be thinking. I'm thinking wrong. Okay.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
Nope. Moving on. Sorry. Way to put a lull in the.
This is great radio.
I know.
But yeah, it's just and one of the I got really upset one day and kind of
surprise.
Yeah, right. kind of when
Another country I heard from.
Stop me if you've heard this one. We kept seeing teams hold runners on at third base, like standing there like he's at first base.
Please, and then you should have walked out. It's like holding somebody on at second.
Yeah.
And staying on the back. Please walk out and just choke the guy out.
It is my biggest pet peeve.
I corrected a player that was doing it against us. I said,
"Thank you."
I looked at him. I said, I was coaching third, and I go, "Why are you holding him on?" It was a league game or whatever. I said, "Why are you holding him on?" He goes, "Well, because for a pickoff throw." I said, "Why are you holding him on?"
Thank you.
Where's he going? First of all, unless you're encouraging your pitcher to throw it over, then he's going to throw it away, and it's a run's going to score.
There's a run's going to score.
Yeah, and so I said, "No, you want to stand. You want to play third base. You don't want to. No, just stop." He didn't listen to me.
That's your recreational league dude.
Yeah.
Who thinks
Who's coaching a travel ball team who thinks he knows.
He's the softball player. It's double wristband, double batting glove. And that shows up on Thursday night wearing black. First of all, never trust a dude who wears black batting gloves anyway, because they don't know anything about the game.
Yeah.
But he's that guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I coach. I coach BPV or whatever. I'm just using Bettendorf as.
Yeah.
We were 11-4 last year and won the league. Okay. We held our guy on a third. Well, none of you kids ever played the game. So, no, please, either choke them or video. What you should do is videotape it going on. You just want to make sure that you tell their coach that you want to make sure you show this to your kids. This is the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
That embarrassing. Oh.
It's
So everyone, just FYI, you have now heard it. Don't do it.
No, please.
Because it is.
It's my biggest pet peeve
It is.
that I see.
It is. For you, it absolutely
my biggest pet peeve. I bitch about it once a tournament.
Once a game.
At very least.
Because it's every It's damn near every team.
Or standing a second to hold him.
Yeah, or are we not teaching how to, or just a first baseman that knows you're supposed to stand near the bag but not have any idea how to do it?
Okay, wait a minute. While we're rolling, what about the kid that throws over 10 or 12 times?
Yeah, well.
Because he's afraid to go to the plate.
Eventually.
It happens at the high school level. I want to kill him. Turn a page, man.
Yes.
Guy gets a hit, and then the first thing you want to
You want to try to get him off the base? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big problem even at the lower levels is like, okay, I walked him, now I'm mad at myself, so now I'm going to try to pick him off, and then all of a sudden he's at third base because I don't know how to make a pickoff throw.
Ain't happening.
I mean, and in all honesty, with travel ball, starting at 9U, they're stealing every base.
Sure.
And that's and it sucks, but that's the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also, as soon as you teach your lefty to lift that leg and come over, as soon as he lifts that leg, we're gone. Because at 9, 10, it's a lob throw from a lefty because he doesn't know how to, and he's going to beat the throw to second base.
Yeah.
Every time.
He's
just
gotta,
up and break. It doesn't matter.
Just go.
First movement.
Even
if he throws over, you're going to beat it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, even in all honesty, even in high school, if you have a lefty that's going to do that, if you're going to get picked off. Yep. If you're not moving back right away, you're getting picked off. You break to second, you go.
And 9 times out of 10, it works.
Yeah. We have to be teaching our first baseman to come off the bag, receive the throw, and create a throwing lane. No, I don't see that either.
Okay. Let's take that a step further. Let's teach our first baseman to put their feet in the middle of the bag. Slide, don't stretch. They're not supposed to stretch. Slide their feet. If the ball's up the line, slide their feet to the corner. If you have to come off and make the tag, slide your feet to the back corner. Not everybody has to reach out. The only time you need to do is when you're stealing a throw.
On the pickoff throw?
You don't know. I'm talking about stretching on a ground ball.
Yeah.
Just catch the ball. You don't have to go out and make this big, long stretch. It serves no purpose.
Yeah.
Just receive it.
Yes.
Well,
just receive the ball.
At 9, 10, 11, receive it, but receive it with the right foot pointing forward.
Exactly.
The correct foot, I
Left
should say.
foot going forward, right hand, yeah. Or learn to slide your feet. Start in the middle. Slide your feet. Either way. And learn how to make that tag. Come off the bag. It's okay to come off the bag and tag the guy. It really is. Which is something we should be teaching at 9, 10, 11.
As a first baseman, I love teaching it, but I don't see it being taught elsewhere. I see, go play first base, ground ball hit to short, and he's sitting there in a full stretch with his glove pointing.
Already stretched out.
What happens? What happens if the ball's to the right or left there?
Which, I mean, it never happens at 9, 10. What's
no,
that throw?
It's on a dime.
Always
hit him in the chest. Everything. Yep. And I'm going to wait until last second. I'm going to throw him out by half step.
Yeah.
Pat the glove 5 or 7 times.
Oh, pet peeve.
Yeah.
First of all, how many checks have they cashed?
None.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
That's what we have to remind them.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that shit
when you cash that check. Come on. You show me that first base stub, and you can tap the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I will sit back and I'll shut my mouth until I see you not throw somebody out because you tap your glove one too many times.
And nobody good. It's another one of my biggest pet peeves. None of you are good enough.
No.
And how did you get away with it? How did you get to my level and get away with it?
So not even one tap. To me, it's a gathering process in a way.
Then why not left, right through it?
I agree.
And
I completely agree because that's what we teach.
Okay.
The 6 apps, the ball's out on 6.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
there's
no. I have no argument.
Okay. Let's continue.
We can.
All right. Is the mechanical end of that to gather himself before he throws it, or is it?
Why is he patting the ball?
Why is he patting the ball?
When he's going to drop the baseball?
The hand should already be in the right spot there.
You're right.
No, I'm not.
No, you are right, and I have no rebuttal because I wouldn't ever teach it because the ball should be out. You get the ball out of your glove as quickly as possible.
But sometimes you have to if you don't have a four-seam
grip,
or especially a young kid. 3 fingers.
They go with 3 fingers typically.
It's hard
with young
sometimes.
kids.
And I get that, but if you got a guy who just thinks it's pretty cool,
And see, my son developed a habit of fielding the ball and kind of rocking back on his right leg,
foot.
And then going. But he doesn't pat. He just rocks back, kind of gathers himself up. And I'm like, you have to stop that because you are losing everything that you just did.
When he breaks his hands, he never gets fast enough to get there.
Your feet are stopping.
Yep.
We don't want to snap our
You
feet.
don't want to stop.
So
Pretty simple. Again, it's keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. You know, and again, I said this to Jim Pransky because I saw him for years and years. You know, all the stuff that he taught me, he was teaching me how to play baseball, but he was teaching me how to coach baseball. You know, all that stuff I use Jim stuff. I use stuff from you. I use lines from Coach Kenny, from Coach DePorter. I mean,
Coach Kenny, God bless him.
I saw him the other day. I was like, I still use my Coach Kenny lines all the time.
Still the baddest man in the building. And no matter where he is the baddest man in the building.
And you won't even know he's there.
Nope. Fastest guy. Did you guys know he was the fastest guy in the city, in the Quad Cities, growing up?
Really?
900. He held the record. Yeah, he was.
I'm not sure I've ever ran 900.
He was 100-yard dash guy.
100-yard dash.
Yes.
Wow. That's fast.
Kenny Lee, Rommel Foy, and a guy from East Moline named Gary. Just because I can watch, like it was yesterday, in the Western Big Six track meet, like it was one stride. Coach Lee, Foy, March. It was amazing. Yeah. So you know how big. Yeah. He also jumped out of planes in the Army.
Yeah.
So bad man.
Yeah.
Bad man.
Oh yeah.
Fastest guy in town.
Yeah, I saw him at the induction ceremony, and it was such a nice.
He's the best man. A great man. Love him.
I want to jump back to one thing because you brought up squashing the bug, and I wanted to make sure that that because I have at a young age I taught, or for the younger group I taught squashing the bug, and not necessarily just to develop the just to keep that back foot on the ground,
right?
But it's more to develop that hip. And with you explaining it the way you did, I want to make sure that I can explain it because I didn't follow it completely.
Okay.
And I understand what you're teaching just because I saw you doing it. But what was, I mean, because you didn't say don't do it necessarily, but you just said I don't like the terminology necessarily.
I call it a pivot.
Okay.
And your hips, you're just bringing your hips through the zone.
Right.
It's a simple, but when you take that step with that front foot, however you do it, whether you go back to load or you split your hands or you raise that front foot, it has to get long enough, it has to land softly, and then it has to become rigid.
Yep.
So once you do that, that's step number one. You've started the process with the hands. Okay, once those hands get to that zone, that locked and loaded zone, then we're going through step, back foot. We're digging that back heel through, and we have to have a bit of a buckle with our back knee, okay? But then it has to be perpendicular, and then it has to lock right there, and then we pivot right from that point.
Okay.
So you have to engage that backside. That hip has to flex to get to the baseball, okay? The heel, as I'm showing you, has to be locked perfectly here, can't leave, and then we'll start the pivot.
Yep. Okay.
And that we talk about you say landing softly and then it gets rigid.
Yep.
So that's the landing softly on the toe and then heel hips hands.
On the ball of the front foot.
Yep.
Okay. Always
ball of the foot is good, better.
You can teach it either way, or you can talk about it either way. But once you get that front side down, excuse me. Once you get that front side down, that heel in the front side has to be down as well. So then you can roll it over. But you have to land, and as soon as you're soft, if you get hard on the front side or too far on the front side, you've already lost everything. Yep. Your hips and everything are over the baseball. To stay behind and through the baseball, take that front side, land softly, boom, it becomes
drop
rigid.
That heel.
Yep.
Heels.
Boom, through, and then pivot through.
Okay.
So, and then please extend both hands. If you want to release, fine after contact, but I'm a big fan of taking it all the way up and through and getting to the top shoulder, and as Pat put, barrel to the back.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's okay until every once in a while, it's okay to swing hard.
Yeah.
I prefer to be quick.
Swing hard in case you hit it.
Yeah, but you can try some aggression.
Yeah, and it's it's funny you say that. We see kids, especially where Coach Logan coaches at 9, where they're thinking so much about what they're being taught that they're not swinging hard.
Exactly. Step, step, step. Am I finishing? It's just.
Like you said, overcoaching it's such an easy mistake to make. You give them too many things to think about at once, and you can just see it. It's like they're trying to process this huge math equation while they're trying to
perfect
write
Great
it out.
Analogy.
Great
analogy. lift your hands up, lift your hands slightly so they're in the zone when you start at that age. Make sure here. And one thing that's really hard that you have to emphasize to young people is both feet have to be pointed toward the plate.
Toward the plate.
Yeah, you can't hit a baseball with duck feet. And every time 9 times out of 10 you get a young kid and his feet, he'll dig those heels in and both toes have to be pointed toward the plate.
And that's my biggest pet peeve. Is the toes. I can't stand the toes when they're pigeon-toed or if they're facing back. I always took one step in, back foot, it set my thing, or set my spot, and then front foot came down.
Had to.
And then they're both facing the plate.
And
whether it's open, closed, nothing, they're both facing the plate.
And the fallacy is we think if that front foot opens and that front shoulder goes, if your back foot is pointed back toward the end of the box, that will cause the front side to leave more than the front foot leaving. If your back foot is pointed toward the back, that's your guidepost.
I see that.
It's left to right. Boom. That front side will leave far before you stepping away from the baseball. Think about your back foot.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's not pointed toward the plate, if it opens toward the back, you've already almost stepping in the bucket.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's ever slide, the front side goes because they follow one another.
Yeah, and
we have a player that lines up that way, except he lines up where both feet are facing the same direction, but they're facing back.
Which,
in all essence, once he then makes his front step, he puts his foot in that realm.
Yeah, it's something I did want to get back to now that we're here. You talked about time and place for box placement. And
okay, that was another thing that I was going to bring up too.
I've always taught my kids, we don't move in the box. We adjust timing because if I'm moving in the box because he's throwing harder, I'm adjusting my strike zone and my sight level.
Okay.
Makes sense? Like I don't want to artificially change my eye level.
If you have somebody that's a hard thrower, you want to scoot up and toward. And you want to shorten his ability to anything that could be long for you to delay your swing, you want to take away.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're short to the baseball as much as possible with a guy with a little velocity. Okay? Breaking ball, I'm not the front of the box guy. I want to see the breaking ball to the end, and I'm going to stay back and see that last rotation so I can hit the ball, stay on the baseball, and let my front side land, keep their hands inside, so I can make sure that I'm not going to pull that pitch. I'm going to hit the ball up the middle or the other way. Mm-hmm. Make sense there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I understand sight. I know what you mean. It's really, but if you have a guy that's a breaking ball guy, and you say you're a left-hand hitter, and you have a guy that's a breaking ball guy, I want to close myself off. I want to make sure I can still get my hands and hips to the baseball, but I want to work away. I don't want to try to pull him because his arm angle or he's throwing me a breaking ball. I want to make sure that I can stay on it. So I'm going to back and scoot to the plate and catch the breaking ball, straight change to the fastball that's center half.
What about when you apply that to the younger kids that are just starting out, the 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds? Because I see a lot of coaches doing that, and I'm kind of in Patrick's camp when it comes to the younger kids. Like, why are we scooting these kids back and forth in the box?
You want somewhere where it's comfortable, one spot. Take your front foot, even with pick a corner of the plate and stay with it, especially at 10. High school kids, you have to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
But
okay, so you're talking to the older age groups. When you get to older age groups, that's when you can adjust yourself.
Right.
Box.
Yeah.
No, make it. Get back to the KISS method. Yeah. Keep it simple.
Yep.
Feet point as long as the feet are straight and you're in the box, and if you have thank you, Patrick. If you have one area they're comfortable with, and if you guys are comfortable with a certain area of the box, stay there.
Yeah.
But okay, let's take that a crazy step farther.
So
if it's a right-hand hitter and it's a Saturday afternoon in Rockford, and the hole in that box is this big.
Yeah.
Then what are you doing?
Well, then you're typically standing in that box. Either I was never able to get away from the holes because I was always in the back of the box, but I was up on the plate. And
we're trying to teach them the eliminate the fear. So we're going to slide them a little closer to the plate, and then we really should, if we just let it have confidence them enough so they can get their hands inside the ball and the barrel too, because it really, they really want to cut themselves off.
Yeah,
they do.
Especially if they're. But you're right. Keep it as simple as possible. Keep them in one spot, but make them adjust.
Yeah.
I know that's really funny, but that big hole somewhere drives everybody bonkers.
Can't stand it. I fill it in every time I enter the box. Every time I swing, I fill it in.
Every time I go to a baseball field and I see the hole, I tap it down a little bit. It's so crazy.
So
can we stop digging in the box, please?
But
where's that getting you?
It's not necessarily that they're
just breaking
digging.
down,
It's just breaking down because there's not clay underneath.
Right.
It's just breaking
But
down. It's the normal swing with the right hand. It's with the right hand and then it's sliding in. It's just all loose dirt.
But that's some things you guys have to. As crazy as it is, that's things you guys encounter on a no matter where you are. Is there's not a ground screw. It's not a hard surface for you to put your foot down and go to unless it's all turf.
And you're not wrong, and it's something I know I've talked to Kellen about. I've talked to my players about. Like they're like, he's like I can't do anything because this hole's so big. I'm like, well, I guess move yourself then. But that's the only option that you have.
Right.
I don't like the move yourself back in the box because he's throwing harder. That never made sense to me.
Now,
okay, so that's
I move up
because I tell Kellen because I say, all right, Kellen, move back in the box, or this is what I told him: set up in the back of the box. Bottom line,
if you're comfortable.
But wherever you're comfortable, set up in the back of the box because it'll give you that extra split second to be able to get to a faster pitch.
It helps him because he's shorter, but if you're taller, moving back in the box, that's moving your strike zone way down.
I'm also of the theory, if you're in the front of the box, you're one more step closer to first base.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Okay.
If you're slow like me, it helps.
A left-hander has that little cheat over a right-hander because of where he starts. Right-hander, if you realize that you want to cut that time off, then I would be in front of the box. Plus, it's easier to bunt a baseball because that barrel has to be in front of the plate to bunt the ball. And I always hit in the 3-4 hole my entire life, and I bunted once a ball game, just because the third baseman.
He's back sleeping.
Yeah, it's a great weapon, and it adds 50 points to your batting average, and then your ego's okay.
He's that lying.
No, I'm not. And no matter how much we want to be a team guy, come on.
Yeah.
We all want.
I mean, you want to get paid.
Yeah, we all want to be A.
I hate batting average as a stat. I just absolutely hate it. And I know I'm not in the majority on that. But
it's a tale from the past, from what happened in the past. It's not going to tell you what's going to happen in the future. But if you're a 276 hitter, you're a 276 hitter.
Yeah.
You get stupid parents who are like, oh, well, my kid has the sixth highest batting average on the team. Why is he not hitting sixth? Because you're an idiot. You don't understand how.
That might be the line of the day. Why is it? Because you're an idiot.
That's why he can never be a head coach.
And I want to know, how does that parent know? Who gives him a batting average to know that he's the sixth?
It's all calculated on Game Changer.
So here's what.
But who does Game Changer?
I did Game Changer.
Okay, then that's legitimate.
But here's what I did. I did Game Changer, and I have a parent do it for me. She was really good at it, and I had locked all the stats because I didn't want.
They
to
don't
see
need
them.
to know.
They don't need to see them. I don't even want to look at them. I literally have it for a bookkeeping method, and so if parents are out of town, they can watch the game, kind of watch the game. That's the only reason I had it. I had a parent go in and unlock those because they had admin properties. Went in and unlocked it. I wasn't about to lock it back up. I was like, it's too late now because now it's going to make it. It's going to be a deal. Well, so I just let it go. And
I had
a parent call me up and ask.
Don came to me and said, this and this, and I almost against his grandson, and he was talking. He was like, this guy has this ERA and he has this ERA, and I'm like, okay, I don't care what their ERA is. I couldn't.
How do you know their ERA at that age?
I couldn't give a rat's ass.
At 11U, an ERA of 6. You're gonna look at an ERA of 6. That's actually somewhat good.
It is
because if you do the calculations,
kids don't get the balls.
No.
Gosh.
I know who I trust on Sunday.
Yes, and it's nothing to me. It's all about feel. It's all about how that kid's doing at that current time.
He got better that day.
Yeah, that's such a flawed stat for a young kid.
Oh God.
Numbers at this age are just
numbers.
How do you know his second baseman just missed every ball that went past him? It's
how many balls slipped through? Oh,
exactly. You know what I mean?
Be making an earned run.
Yeah.
How many? But the 5-6 hole, which is Death Valley, with kids, or the 3-4 hole, where they don't get the ball. Come on.
And that would be. I would like to see their fielder independent pitching more, but that's ridiculous.
There's too many war replacements for 11-year-olds.
Yeah.
But that's.
I don't need sabermetrics to tell me how to coach
you.
my 11-year-olds.
No.
I agree. Just
even high school, you don't need it that much.
You don't.
It helps. It helps when you.
I said that
higher,
much.
Yeah.
When you get into higher levels, yeah, you're gonna utilize it.
We chart everything.
If you have
you don't
somebody
need
like Robbie that's really good at
Yeah.
it, that's one thing. But at 11, I
don't
want to tell me numbers. I don't want to know them. I didn't ask for them. I never looked at them. I didn't.
And I don't care about them.
Yeah.
We don't have, and I struggle with a parent independently deciding whether that's a hitter in there.
Yeah.
That's. I don't like her. I don't. You know what? She
Yeah,
drank
you're right.
my wine cooler last night. Her son's not getting a hit today. Her husband winked at me.
That was a hard hit ground ball, and he could have got a glove on it. That's an error.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's you
You're
guys
right.
know that, and
You are right.
You have and will experience every strange parent emotion that goes on.
Yeah. I mean, it worked out for us because we had a strange parental situation, and it was very. I mean, she did do a really good job.
She did a phenomenal job. Not to say that she didn't pad stats or whatnot, because it's inevitable.
It's going to be a hit if you're on our team.
And she said, you know what? Guess what? I'm going to give the kids the benefit of the doubt.
And I'm okay with that because I want that kid to feel good about his day.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was a borderline ball that somebody... Okay.
And again, I don't think the kids... There might have been one kid that was looking at it.
Kids don't care.
No, kids don't give a shit.
No.
And once they start looking at it,
then that's all they look at.
Then it becomes all they care about.
Yep.
And then he told me a story, where he's out of the Milan Little League, and Dylan, all of a sudden, his son Dylan is like, oh well, at least they have a scoreboard, and we don't ever have scoreboards where we play. Well, because I don't want you to look at the scoreboard.
No, that's a good point. I never thought about it that way.
Why can't so that's we're on the flip side. From my son, when he first started playing ball, he's been keeping score in his own head.
Thank God he knows that. I'm glad he knows that. I tip my hat because he knows what the situation is, what's going on. Now, you probably got 100 mommies with a little flip thing, us and them.
Oh, I would kick those off of my fence. I would literally just turn around and kick it.
But they're everywhere, man.
They are.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
crazy.
Same thing with the now shields
Oh,
over your chair.
She's got her Nettie, Yeti.
The Yeti.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just a vodka and
Vodka.
lemonade. And she brought it in. You know it is. And and every time he hits a foul ball hard, she's the first one to say, straighten it out. or
Insert baseball cliche.
you got this, pal. You got this.
just throw strikes.
Yeah.
Oh, try that.
Thank you.
That's a good idea. I didn't think about it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Just throw strikes. Yeah. Bend your back.
Never thought of that, Mom. Thanks.
I would pay for a young kid to turn to his mom and say, "What the hell do you think I'm trying to do?" I'm saying, God, that's a good.
I would actually probably call time and walk out, give the kid a high five, turn back, and run back in.
You're starting tomorrow, kid.
Yeah, but yeah, and Coach Harding and I used to bet on every time we'd have a kid hit a ball hard that was foul, how fast. And I start counting like the official in the back. 5, and we would bet because every time we were on the road, we go to Casey's Pizza on the way back, and the loser had to buy Casey's. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so we would bet, but it never let us down. Some either Hilljack or mom that thought she knew the game. Straighten it out, honey. So.
Mom with the Yeti, the bare feet with on the fence.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Bear. You just said 99% of every mother.
Well, at least their kid isn't strapped to a fence
With a
with
the pet leash.
the pet leash.
Oh my God.
My wife did that to my middle son. It was needed.
I ought to hang out at your house. Your house.
Oh, you have to, man.
Your house rocks. My wife's an attorney. Should I have her on retainer for your son?
Maybe.
Wow.
No, he ran off and he went and hit underneath bleachers. This was out in Eldridge, and she literally turned around because we just had our third. She turned around to take care of him, and then boom, they said he's gone, and she thought he was out in the parking lot. And so they find him. She brings him back, puts his little monkey.
Oh, I love it.
And then hooks it right on the fence, and he's leaning at a 45-degree angle trying to get away. I walked down and talked to the umpire between innings.
Did she? Wait a minute. Did anybody give her the Mother of the Year plaque that day? Because I made my son catch a doubleheader with a broken thumb, and they got me a plaque the next day.
I think all of the families were looking for him. So should she have gotten one?
Yep.
Yeah, probably. And then he was strapped up, and I walked down. And she goes, "Hey, look at your son." I go,
well, she should have got the Comedian of the Year plaque too for entertaining.
He should have been on the leash years ago.
Yeah, he should have been.
Well, you should write a book about that one.
Oh man, she should write a book about that one because that was her experience. I was in the dugout. I knew nothing until I walked by, see him change it up.
What up, dude? Hey, come on. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, come over here. Oh, sorry.
If Lance wrote a book, that'd be writing more books than he's read. So.
Wow.
At least I can read.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Don't feel bad. I have to listen to audiobooks.
Oh, God. Hey, single digit in my IQ. We'll never say, I married smart, so I'm okay.
There you go.
You did it right.
Yeah, married pretty and smart.
So, what are we at?
Yeah, we're a little over an hour
Okay.
already. That went by so quick again.
You wanna go over the details of the tournament coming up on Saturday one more time?
Yeah. It's the Will Kohn Memorial Hit Tracks Tournament. We begin Friday at Fielder's Choice in Milan. It starts playing at 5. We're going to play 5 till 10 o'clock. We'll have a 9 o'clock game even on Friday.
Nice.
And then, and Saturday morning we start at 8 o'clock. We'll have a 9 o'clock game.
That would have been our game, was the 8 o'clock
8
game.
o'clock.
Always.
And then 8 o'clock and then the 9 o'clock last game of the day.
Yeah.
So, Yep. You waiting.
So you got kids running around the complex the whole time. Of course. And we made $700 in concessions.
So you did it right, good cause. It's for a good
cause.
You did it right. Yep.
But that's isn't that the case though?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys 8 o'clock, and then noon, and then 3 or 5, and
no, not enough time to go get anything.
No, absolutely not.
And not enough time to sit there.
Too much time to sit there.
Too much time
to sit there. Yeah.
Yep. And the kids, should I let them sit in the sun? Should I?
Do I let them run around? Do I make them sit underneath the tree?
Yep.
What do I do? And then you let them run around, and they come out. They're flat, and tired, and hot, and game's over.
They've eaten how many sugary
God,
candy bars or sugary drinks?
Sugary drinks.
Big tenderloin at the Hitman Complex.
Yeah.
Greasy slice of pizza.
But I'm okay with that. That's great.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If you're at the Hitman Complex and you get that tenderloin, good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you.
And six Kona ices later.
Right.
Some of us can't afford it.
Correct.
We don't all write for the newspaper for 45 years.
It was 30.
35. I hope. And then we'll play Saturday from 8 to 10. So all the money, we keep enough to pay for one bat and a couple dozen baseballs, or enough baseballs for the season, and we give the rest to the Kohn family. So it's more a service project than it is a fundraiser.
Right.
Last year we paid for the bus to go to, actually it ended up being vans, to go to Springfield to play.
Nice.
So it's $125, and it's a hit tracks, and it's a lot of fun.
Is that Springfield trip? Is that a state tournament or
No,
is
that's
it
just
Just a tournament. It's in Lentz. You remember me bringing that up last year when we were doing tournaments? It's just north of Springfield.
Yep, Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And it's it's all turf. It's kind of getting old, but it's an all turf complex. And the only reason we would go down there is because you guys know what the weather's like around here in March, and we try to get games in.
Yeah.
And then we get down, we play Friday, and we get banged all day Saturday because it rains.
Yeah.
So, famous last words. But still had great time for the kids to get out of town, spend a day together. Yep. And
we've never been to Peoria when it's not rained.
I get no.
Luckily, we had an 8 o'clock game one day. One time when we were in Peoria, we got a game in.
Yeah, we got one.
Burlington was always raining.
Burlington.
We would go down, play with mud dogs, something.
It's always raining in Burlington, though.
Yeah, well, Burlington. Anybody listening in Burlington? Or any cops in Burlington? I'm not driving through. But yeah, so.
At least it's not Rock Falls.
Remember that? It's something we'll keep that between us.
Yeah.
Something it was a great paint job.
Yeah.
It wasn't a rocket. I can tell you they didn't paint the rocket on the field. Coach Ebner makes fun of that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, some people took some liberties with a rocket that was painted in the end zone and turned it into a phallic symbol. So,
That's great.
God bless them.
That's
America.
perfect. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yep. But it was typical because that's what they thought of their football program at that time.
Yeah, that's what I thought of their football program at the time too.
That's what I thought of the town. At that time.
The armpit of the world.
Yeah, but I came to know some people, and it's actually pretty cool.
As long as you get into Sterling. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they don't suburb of Dixon.
Yeah.
But I get treated like gold in those towns. They're nice people up there, so they don't like Allman.
Yeah, well.
Well, who does?
You write for the Dispatch, so you don't get treated well in Geneseo.
No, I don't.
I know they don't like you.
No.
Well, they don't like Allman either.
Yeah,
So
right. The Dispatch darlings, as we're called in Geneseo.
Hey.
Yeah, that's still bulletin board material for me. Still is.
Love them. Geneseo's a great town.
Oh, yeah.
it is. So, well, that's perfect. We'll
Thank you.
get
for
this
letting
out
me
there.
talk.
Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for coming.
I will
it's my
say
pleasure, fellas.
I'll say that that Hitrex is awesome. I've
Hitrex
done
is
it personally. My son's done it. We've gone out there and you can hit it any ballpark you want to. It's
Any
so
age.
much fun.
Any age. It's adjustable for everybody. And there's something about a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, with a little loft to it, and the ball carrying, and they hear that machine go. The crowd roar, and so it's all I know is last year was as much fun as we've had in a long time playing a game inside, if you can, and
Just having fun. There's no.
There's
It's front
there's
toss.
nothing at stake.
there's nothing at stake.
Yeah.
There's nothing at stake.
It's front
Coach
toss.
pitch,
You don't have to worry about
or you can
making
use
an
the
error.
hack attack. You can use the machine. Yeah, there's no defense to it. And if mommy or daddy, if anybody gets upset, they're in the wrong place,
Yes,
the
they
wrong
are.
time, and they don't understand the purpose of why we're there.
Yeah. It's to have fun and support.
Yeah.
And
Trying to
support
help a
the
family out
good
that
cause.
that's strong. Yeah. So
absolutely
We will be supporting that for sure.
I appreciate that.
without a doubt.
Thanks for letting
Also,
me sit down, fellas. I appreciate it.
open invitation. Anytime you come in.
Anytime.
Absolutely. It's pleasure is ours.
Like we said, we started this because we saw things that piss us off. So you see anything that pisses you off, hey, we need
This
that.
is
We need
therapeutic.
Yeah, it really is.
That's
It
why
is.
we were doing it. We were doing it anyway, so why not record it?
Just
Why
record
not
it.
record it? We're sitting there talking about it.
So
And
you
it
see
gives
something
me
that
an
pisses
excuse
you
to
off.
not actually
hey,
get in
yeah.
trouble after ball games.
know.
I can still do this. And
My wife's gonna wonder where the
hour and a half.
baseball.
Hour and a
She'll
half later.
understand, yeah.
Hour and a half later.
She knows she married. You knew you married. She
Yeah,
knew what she
she
married.
Yep.
She married. She took a nosedive, and I married up. Yeah, I'm way out over my skis, fellas. Thank God. Yep. So, hey, she's younger, smarter, and prettier. So, hey, life's good.
Yep.
Coach Lance, you want to tell us where to find us at?
Absolutely. Check us out on Facebook. That's going to be our main one. But check us out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/uncoachable. You'll find us on our website, uncoachablecast.com. You'll also find us on YouTube. Do a quick search for Uncoachable Podcast. We're the one with the dirty baseball plate.
I love that.
And we're on Podbean as well. That's where you're going to find most of our stuff. It's uncoachablecast.com/Podbean. Or uncoachablecast.podbean.com. So go check it all out.
Or just download the Podbean app and search for us.
Yep, absolutely.
We'll be right there.
We're there for you.
Appreciate it.
John, thank
Thank you
you
to
very
Coach
much
Marx.
again.
Oh,
Yes.
fellas, I'm grateful. I had a
Such
great
a pleasure.
time. I haven't laughed like this in a while. I'm serious, and you guys know how life
Yeah.
can be
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm grateful. Thank you.
Open invitation anytime.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Later.